Professional wrestling is a physically brutal sport, and athletes have been hiding their real pain in favor of the spectacle since the 19th century. Sooner or later, every wrestler gets hurt, and their injuries force them out of the ring.
Last resort!
Here are the real reasons your favorite childhood wrestlers retired. Hulk Hogan. As the sport's biggest star of all time, Hulk Hogan was not only a force on the mat, but also a genius self-marketer. He was one of wrestling's first athletes to really control the whole show, from storyline to action figures.
Hulk Hogan!
Unlike most wrestlers, Hogan's fall from greatness wasn't due to some in-ring accident, but rather his mouth. Hogan had flirted with the idea of retiring from wrestling dozens of times over his career, but it was his leaked sex tape in which Hogan is heard using racial slurs that truly ended his career. WWE fired him in 2015, kicked him out of their Hall of Fame, and pretended like one of the biggest stars in their history never existed. It's possible that, once the dust settles, Hogan could return to the ring. But for now, he's enjoying the fruits of his multi-million-dollar lawsuit victory against the website Gawker for leaking the sex tape, and whatever's left of his Postomania money. Daniel Bryan. At only 35 years old, Daniel Bryan was among the most decorated active wrestlers in the WWE. During WWE's Monday Night Raw on February 8, 2016, Bryan announced that his health was forcing him to leave the ring.
Within the first 5 months of my wrestling career, I'd already had 3 concussions.
In an interview with ESPN, Bryan discussed the damage his brain has incurred over his career, saying that at least 10 concussions have been documented, which is far too many for any brain to handle. Bryan's wife, wrestler Brie Bella, discussed her husband's struggles on her reality television show Total Bellas.
What a lot of people don't know about my husband is he's been battling depression since he was 25. And really our whole relationship, I've been used to his depression, but definitely in the last 2 years I know, okay, it comes, it hits hard, but it only lasts for 2 days.
Bryan is leaving the ring at just the right time, especially considering that many wrestlers simply retire too late. Bam Bigelow. Weighing in at 390 pounds, Bam Bigelow is one of the biggest acts to ever wrestle, both literally and figuratively. His enduring legend is peppered with extreme highs and lows, including drug abuse, which eventually led to his death. But Bigelow wasn't just a wrestling hero. In July of 2000, he'd saved 3 children from a burning building.
I mean, you see kids and you see a fire. You're not gonna stand there and watch them get burned, you know. So, but I wanted to burn 33% of my body and spent a couple days in the hospital, about 10 days in the hospital.
In 2005, Bigelow crashed his motorcycle, which nearly killed his girlfriend who was sitting on the back. His retirement in 2006 was not tied to one incident, but was brought on by the accumulation of troubles that plagued his final years. Sadly, retirement didn't make anything easier, and he was found dead in 2007 due to a drug overdose. Jesse Ventura. Before he became governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura enjoyed a decade of adulation in professional wrestling. After a notable 10 years in the ring, the body called it quits in 1984 after doctors discovered blood clots in his lungs. But the damage wasn't from wrestling. Ventura had worked as a member of the underwater demolition team in the United States Navy during the Vietnam War. He believes the blood clots in his lungs were because of his exposure to Agent Orange. Whether or not that's true, the damage to his lungs closed a historic chapter in Ventura's life, though he's clearly enjoyed one of the most high-profile and varied post-wrestling careers in the sport's history. Edge. During his WWE career, Edge... No, not that one. This Edge earned a staggering 31 championships. Even if they all were scripted, that's still an impressive number. But it was Jeff Hardy's attack during WrestleMania 23 that aggravated Edge's spinal stenosis to the point of no return.
Watch this impact! Oh, good God. Oh my God. The height.
Playing through the pain is standard in professional wrestling, but the WWE wouldn't let him kill himself in the ring. After a few more years, an MRI revealed that Edge was no longer in fighting shape, which he revealed on wrestler Chris Jericho's podcast, saying, "It felt like my nervous system was off. It was just an MRI that showed it." Finally, WWE said, "That's it, dude." This spear on Brodus Clay a day after his final match, where he's clearly favoring his injured neck, didn't help matters one bit. Magnum T.A. Terry Allen referred to himself as an American heartthrob and stood out from the pack as a burly yet handsome grappler, ready to punish all takers with a belly-to-belly suplex. In 1986, at the peak of his career, 27-year-old Magnum T.A. lost control of his Porsche on a rain-soaked road in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the accident left half of his body paralyzed for months. The crash ended Allen's in-ring career, and apart from a few brief, almost symbolic appearances in the 2000s, the American heartthrob was committed to the sidelines, but lucky to be alive. Kamala. Billed as the Ugandan giant, James Harris, also known as Kamala, wrestled for 30 years. He rose to fame during the 80s and 90s, an era when cartoonish depictions of far-flung cultures struck fear into audiences. Kamala was actually born in Mississippi, so he was hardly the savage cannibal he played on TV. Kamala formally retired in 2011 after he was rushed to the hospital. A longtime sufferer of diabetes and high blood pressure, Kamala was in a bad state. He refused dialysis treatment, which resulted in the amputation of his left leg below the knee. A year later, his right leg was also amputated below the knee. Because it's especially difficult to wrestle with no legs, today he sells paintings and recently published his autobiography, Kamala Speaks. Fortunately, he's no longer perplexed by bowling balls.
Come on. Don't be afraid.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. The clock began ticking for Steve Austin's career on August 3, 1997, when he faced Owen Hart for the Intercontinental Championship. Austin had readied himself for a tombstone pile driver, but Hart switched to a Hart driver at the last second, which sent Austin's skull crashing into the mat. The blown move left Austin with a bruised spinal column and temporary paralysis. For Austin, the realization was immediate.
And I just knew instantly I was paralyzed and I could not move, but I stayed razor sharp. I was awake. I never got knocked out.
And even though Austin returned to the ring after the incident, SummerSlam 97 marked the beginning of the end. He would re-injure his neck and endure several concussions. In 2003, at the age of 38, Austin decided to hang it up before it was too late. His leaving the WWE was written into the storyline, but very accurately blamed his injuries for his departure.
So make no mistake about it. You're fired.
Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel, plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.